Hi, welcome back to Quilt Remix, where we take a vintage pattern and we give it a modern twist. I'm Kelly Bowser, and I'm here today with the awesome Alex Anderson. Hi, Alex.
So great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for being here. I'm just a little excited, just a little, that you're here. So can you please tell us a little bit about yourself for those who don't know?
Well, basically, I've been quilting for many, many years. I don't even want to say how many decades. And I've written a ton of books, but probably my claim to fame is I was the host of Simply Quilts on HGTV for 10 years. Wow. And now I'm currently hosting thequiltshow.com with Ricky Timms. It's an online thing like this. And I'm also working with Quilters Select. It's a subdivision of Floriani. So I've got a lot of great things going on right now.
A lot of balls in the air.
Yeah.
You should give me tips on how to do the show. Way more experience than I have. So Alex and I did our take on this beautiful quilt by Karen Lee called Happenstance. And it will be the July-August issue of Love of Quilting. And this quilt is so awesome, I didn't even want to change it. It's kind of like an offset version of Trip Around the World with what we think is the Ohio Star.
Right.
So many blocks have so many names, but we believe this is an Ohio Star. And I really loved it. I didn't want to change it. And so I kind of took that off-center Trip Around the World, and I simplified it because I didn't want to make that many Ohio Stars.
That's a lot of work.
It is. So I made 6 different simple blocks for mine, and then used some solid squares, just similar to what Karen did in hers. And I kind of alternated the pieced and the not pieced, also similar to what Karen did in hers. And so I really didn't change it all that much, other than kind of fabric, and maybe, made it a little bit easier for me because I'm lazy. So Alex, could you tell us a little bit about your inspiration, what you took from this quilt?
Well, first of all, I'm surprised that it's a new quilt. I really thought it was an antique. and in the beginning of my quilting career, I was known as the Star Lady, so I'm rather embarrassed that I can't nail the exact name of that block for you. But what I took from it were 2 things. First of all, I loved the colors of it. This is actually the printout that I got, and it's
and mine looked similar to this.
Yeah, and I looked at those colors and I go, oh, you are so beautiful. So my stash of hand dyes called to me.
Ooh, bringing out the good stuff.
Yeah, I bought like $5,000 of Sonia Lee Barrington's when she went out of business. So yeah, so these colors just seem to really work with the original handout that I have.
And I love this pop of pink with sort of like this more muted neutral palette. That's gorgeous.
But what I want to say is if you are working with hand dyes, make sure you wash it in your washing machine, because perhaps it's been dyed in another area and the dyes have been set in that person's washing machine but not yours. So here, this is my color catcher. I know, pretty bad, right?
I thought it was one of the fabrics.
No, it's my color catcher, so you want to make sure you do that. Now, the other thing is I loved the way it's offset too, okay? I just think that's so smashing. I took a class from Rosalie Days. She's from South Africa. I love taking classes, and I learned something in her first class, and it's the sweet point on a quilt. All right?
Okay.
So they asked 100 students to take a blank piece of paper like this and put a dot. Just 1 dot. And then they took the paper and put it around the room, these 100 pieces of paper, and they voted on the most aesthetic dot.
Okay.
And guess what? It's the sweet spot in this quilt. So that got voted as the best place to put your focal point. So when I saw this quilt, I'm going, hot diggity dog, I know what I'm doing.
That is awesome. That's just, it's such like an interesting, almost like a psychology thing about symmetrical with faces, but then for this, it's the asymmetry.
And I always put things down here. Now, guess what? Whoop, they're up here.
Now it's down. Now you've changed things. Yeah. And I love how we took something totally different from the quilt. Like I did a more literal interpretation of the quilt, and Alex took inspiration from kind of the color and the offset aspect of the quilt, correct?
Right. And I want to say that I love antique quilts. They are the best place for inspiration. I mean, it's been going on forever, so take advantage of it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us, and join us next segment where I will show you how to create my version of Happenstance. This episode of Quilt Remix Vintage Pattern Modern Twist is brought to you by Baby Lock, for the love of sewing. Tin Lizzie 18, your affordable long arm quilters. Inganero,
because fabric should be fun. Madeira, color your life. Aliso Smart Irons, fabric care reinvented for you. And Quilters Select, made specifically for quilters. Furniture for Quilt Remix was provided by Koala, fine sewing furniture custom built for you.